I have waited months for this thing, and it's finally here. So about a month ago, when Miller Engines was posting pictures of this very engine on their Instagram page, and a lot of the comments were referring to me doing a video on everything that was done to this engine. So what I'm gonna do in this video is I'm actually gonna go ahead and break down everything that Matt did at Miller Engines, all the parts that were installed, in a rough estimate, because this wasn't cheap. I'm actually over budget right now, unfortunately. What took the longest on this engine was waiting on parts. That's just how it goes nowadays. And it sucks when you're trying to put something together. Like, for example, the Weingartner, which should have been built like 2 months ago. That's how I look at it. That thing should already be running and going. But I'm gonna go ahead and post a clip of Matt actually explaining everything he did to the engine, and then I'll go ahead and get into all the specifications and everything, and sort of what the plans are for this truck. Also, another thing that I've been dying to do, I'm gonna install these shocks from Rough Country, and we're gonna talk about a little bit of a giveaway as well, which I think you guys are gonna love. So stay tuned for that.
Hey, Matt here with Miller Engines, and I wanted to share with you some upgrades we went and did to Josh's LB7 build. I got the engine going together here on the stand. I just wanted to show you guys on every engine I like to install a degree wheel and then just get all the measurements off the cam, just to kind of be sure everything's correct and it's installed in the right spot. And what I'll do after that point is mock up the head with the head gasket. And then I got these check-in springs here. That way when I'm spinning the motor over, I can easily open and close that valve with the rocker to get an accurate measurement off, so I know exactly what the piston and valve clearance is on every engine. Starting with the bottom end and rotating assembly, we went a Callie's 4-inch crankshaft, and we were running some Callie's H-beam connecting rods, holding onto some Somali Motorsports pistons. And this one decided to go with the Callie's Comp Star rod, which are pretty beefy. And then on the piston went with a Mali Motorsport piston with the thermal top coat on it. Also on the bottom end of this, we machined a block for some billet main caps, and then we're running some ARP main studs. As far as the oil system on this build, we're running a keyed oil pump we machine in-house. And then we went and upgraded the L5P oil cooler to help keep those oil temperatures nice and low. Moving up to the valve train and cam on this build, we're running a alternate fire camshaft, and then we got some man push rods. Up top we also have some ARP head studs holding down some PP cast iron cylinder heads they just came out with. It's a really nice combo, and I'm excited to see what Josh can do with it. Thanks.
So I do have some history with that company. They actually built my Cummins for the 99, and they did a fantastic job. But if you guys just stopped by, I want to get you up to speed. We had the entire frame powder coated. So essentially oh, by the way, gotta say this was extremely hard to find. I had an LOI fuel tank on this thing. I know it's kind of boring to talk about, but I was able to get an LB7 fuel tank because the sending unit in the frame harness and everything was actually backwards. So this is an LOI frame, so this is an 05 frame Silverado, but I needed a 04 fuel tank. I believe it or not, they're different. This nasty frame harness right here is actually from an LB7, which I need to clean up. Biggest reason for that is because when I turn the truck on and the fuel tank is full, it's actually reading empty. So I had to spend the extra money and outsource a bunch of other extra parts just so my fuel gauge will read properly. It's crazy, man. But I guess that's the beauty and growing pains of building a truck, just all the little dumb things that's just gonna nickel and dime you. So let's set this record straight. This truck is for the wife. She's gonna have the coolest truck on the channel. And realistically, the goal with this engine is not to be trying to put out 1,400 or 2,000 horsepower. Even though I'm putting 2 RDS turbos on it, I just want to hit comfortably 1,000 horsepower. If I can reach 11 or 1,200, that would be great, but I did not want to go nuts on this. The overall goal with this build right here is to drive it normally. So if I just want to drive it on the highway, maybe even drive it down to Ohio or Florida, Alabama, bring it back, I shouldn't have anything to worry about. Let's just jump right into it. These are the cast iron PPE heads. I actually did a full video on it. And when I say cast iron, I mean these are extremely heavy. For example, these are my aluminum heads, which I was going to install. But during the build, these cast iron heads came out and I had to snatch them up. The best thing about these heads is that you don't have to install injector sleeves in them anymore. Also, another thing to point out, these valve springs right here are definitely going to handle the power that I'm trying to throw at it. These actually came with the heads. If you guys are wanting to reference that, that is the part number. And I also added these to my website. So if you guys want to pick up a set of these heavy heads, go for it. I know they're expensive, but definitely cool. I'm almost positive that these cylinder heads are actually going to make the engine quieter. You know, I'm pretty sure. But stay with me on that one. I'm really excited to hear this thing fire up for the first time. Another really cool thing that he did is he installed this L5P oil cooler. That was definitely a great investment. Brand new OE water pump. And after all the aftermarket performance stuff was installed in this thing, we got to make this engine happy with a nice fluid damper. That was a really good call. So like I talked about, I want to stick with that, you know, 900 to 1200 horsepower range. Just really depends on what that dyno says once I put it on there. I think with the amount of fuel that I'm throwing at this thing, I don't want to get too nuts with it. I was going to go 200 overs, but I'm going to stick with the 100 overs from S&S that I already have in there. I have the sack nozzles. That should do the trick. I'm actually going to be removing the old AirDog, and I'm going to be installing an AirDog 5G. This is a 220 gallon per hour one, so it's going to be definitely moving a lot more fuel. And we're going to be sticking with the 10 millimeter Exergy pump. The engine that I currently have for this truck right here just has a 68 millimeter RDS, 100 overs, and a 10 mil, and that thing hit 800 horsepower. This sounds crazy, guys, but I'm thinking with dual fuelers, which 2 injection pumps, 2 turbos, this thing should be awesome, especially not worrying about the bottom end. The other engine has 400,000 miles on it, but hey, that's a true statement to some of these older Duramaxes. And like Matt was talking about, he installed a Callie's crank. They actually balanced it there at the shop as well, and it can hold up to a comfortable 1,000 to 1,200 horsepower. I also ordered the Duramax alternate firing billet race cam, and when I say alternate firing order, it actually relieves stress on the crankshaft. Another really quick thing I wanted to talk about was the Matin Series 3 push rods. As far as the specs on the push rods, they can hold up to 170,000 PSI tensile strength. And so far, since I've been doing head gasket jobs, I only stick with the Moly stuff. Grade C, it's really good stuff. The good thing about the Moly kit is it comes with all the O-rings, gaskets, even for the injectors. It comes with everything. So this is gonna make easy installation when I actually put everything back together. Then I went with a beefy set of connecting rods. They're actually the Callie's H-beam. Good stuff. And the Moly pistons are bored 20 over. So yeah, that's pretty much it. When it comes to an engine build like this, you're looking anywhere between $10,000 to $12,000. It's not cheap. So like I said, I was definitely well over budget, but you know, for the amount of money that I put into the extra parts, the forged stuff, the billet stuff, it really added up. And that's not including the heads. I know that seems like a lot of money, but I definitely budgeted this build, and I had a sort of set goal in mind on how much money I wanted to spend. And not only that, I wanted something nice on the channel. I know I have a lot of nice trucks, but I really don't have anything here at the house that's just frame off. You know, we've done a lot of stuff at the shop at Ryan's, but you know, as far as being here at my house, at my garage, we don't have anything super cool like this build, so I'm really pumped about it. So that's the explanation on the build on the engine. And let me know, oh, one more thing, kind of a big thing actually. I've talked about this in a previous video. LB7 block, which would be the 04 engine block, we didn't go with it. I actually had Matt outsource an LBZ block that he had in Pennsylvania. Not only that, these engine blocks actually have a lot more rigidity than the old school blocks, I guess. A lot more webbing. So the amount of abuse that my wife throws at this thing, well, I guess me, especially when I take this thing to the truck pulls next year, which I cannot wait for. If you guys have an 01 to a 2010 2500 or 3500 HD, I'm gonna be running a giveaway with these HD tie rods from Rough Country, and all you guys gotta do is buy a t-shirt or a hoodie. That is it. I think the biggest selling point on these is the fact that they're forged and they're affordable. After that week's over, I'm just gonna simply pick a random person, and then I'm gonna be packing their stuff in with this. And you may actually have a really nice set of tie rods. And if you don't win, I'm gonna throw something cool in your package anyways. But yeah, we'll go ahead and run that for a week. So good luck to everybody. Reach out to my good friend Matt at Miller Engines in Pennsylvania if you wanna go ahead and get, you know, your engine rebuilt or something like that. They definitely do it right and they take care of you. They're the only guys that I trust. But I'm broke now. But moving forward, I'm gonna go ahead and install the Rough Country V2 monotube shocks. See how they look on the frame. It's gonna look awesome. I actually installed the same exact shocks on the Cummins, and of course the LBZ Duramax. I've been running these for a while, no issues at all. So I got the garage all cleaned up. We're gonna go ahead and put these shocks on right now. So Rough Country shocks are successfully installed. I'm so pumped about this. This is finally done here. When it comes to installation, definitely a lot easier when you just have the frame. But one thing that sucks is not all the weight is pushed down. So unfortunately, when you install the nut on this bolt right here, you only have so much thread in order to get it on there. But if I had all the extra weight down, it'd be a lot easier to put these on. But overall, I'm super happy with this. One thing that really sucks though, look at that, man. After I got it powder coated, all that stuff inside of there, it looks like it kind of started to rust a little bit. So I'm gonna clean that up. I'm gonna pull this tire off. I'm actually gonna grease it up too, so this doesn't happen again. But that's a huge bummer. On this side, not so much, but you can tell that it's starting to come through. As you guys can tell, I have no backing plates. Luckily, I found a set, believe it or not. Finally. You know how hard it was to find these? The reason why I'm talking about this is because I'm gonna go ahead and just pull the wheels and the calipers and all that extra stuff off, in the hubs, of course, and I'm gonna get these on there. That way it kind of cleans things up. And I don't know, I may actually put some wheel lights on there. I don't know, we'll see what happens in the future. But while I'm in it, of course, I'm gonna go ahead and just clean everything up and make sure that doesn't happen again. So it's the very next day. You're not gonna believe what showed up on my porch. I can't believe how quick this showed up. Check this out. Woo, look at that. I was just talking about it. This is the 5G, and we might as well, since we're already at it, let's go ahead and get this thing on the truck. Look at that, guys. Awesome. Let's go ahead and get this installed. We might as well. I mean, we're already here. I'm just gonna put the pump on the frame and get all the brackets already installed and not tighten it up, of course, because once I put the fuel tank on there, it's probably gonna be in the way. So just put it on there loosely. But here it is. This is the big dog of lift pumps. AirDog 5G GPH 220. This is a big deal. Now, I do want to say one thing. I've done numerous YouTube videos on how to install a lift pump. If you guys are interested in checking out how to install this stuff, I'll leave that link in the description. I'll leave a couple links. If there was only one upgrade that I can do to my diesel, just one, if I just had one thing to pick, it would be this. The biggest reason for that is because it separates the dirt, the water, the air, and everything from your fuel. But not only does it keep your injectors happier, and it also keeps your fuel cleaner, of course, it alleviates a lot of the extra work that that stock pump actually has to do. So essentially, it'll prolong the life of your stock fuel injection pump. So now that we have it installed on the brackets, we're gonna go ahead and just put it right on the frame. And that's it. I'm just gonna let it hang on the frame like this for now until we get everything installed. So that completes this video today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys wanna stay tuned and watch till the end, I did a full time lapse of the Duramax build that we did 2 years ago. So definitely enjoy that. But with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and bring the truck in and get the frame swapped. Stay tuned for more videos.